What's up guys? Welcome to the 6th lesson of Alpine JS. In this lesson we will talk about modifiers. To have an organized and clear work, let me delete these codes that I don't need them. Assume that I have a tag, show hello message. Now if I refresh my browser, it will show me the tag with show hello message. But when I click on the message, it will be reloaded because it's a link. And when I inspect, there is no link here, but because we have href attribute, it loads the link and the page is refreshed. Sometimes we need to prevent reloading some pages. Actually, we don't want to go to another link and just want to do some operations in a specific page. For example, on click alert hello world. Now let's see what happens. Well, I defined on directive. Now if I refresh the page and click on the button, the message will be shown. But when I click on OK, as you see, the page will be reloaded. So here we have a problem and don't want the page be reloaded and just want to see the message. To do this, we can use prevent modifier. This modifier will do the thing we want. Now while I reload the page and click on the button, the message will be shown, and by clicking on OK, the page will not be reloaded. We can also do this for a form. When we have a form, we have a button in type of submit, and when we click on the button, this form will be sent to an address and the page will be reloaded. And by using prevent modifier, we can prevent sending the form. Here on submit.prevent alert hello world. And here submit. I refresh the page and you see the submit button, and when I click on the button, the form will not be sent to another address. So the first and most important modifier is prevent. The next modifier that I will explain is stop. You may have a parent element with some subset elements. We just want to run something when the parent element is selected, not subset elements. For example, I have a div here and a span in subset, and also HR in the subset, and a button. And the button is not clickable. Okay, because I want clickable div, I say @click console.log clicked on parent. In span, I have example text. And in the button, I want to use stop modifier @click.stop. So we have 3 subsets and a parent. If I refresh the page, you see that we have 3 elements here. If I click on example text, you see clicked on parent. If I click on line, it will show me that message. And when I click on not clickable, there is no output. The next modifier that will be explained is outside. As it seems, it will work when you click out of an element. It has its special usages. For example, assume that we have a drop-down, a button, and an open variable. When open is true, it will show the drop-down, and when open is false, drop-down is hidden, and the button changes between true and false. Okay, when the drop-down is open, and when we click outside of drop-down, open value should change to false and drop-down will be closed. Or for example, in admin panel, we can use this in sidebar. Now let's create an example. I have an input, and here @click.outside console.log clicked outside of input. As you see, I have an input here, and when I click on this input, nothing special happens. But when I click outside of this area, the message will be shown. Alright, the next modifier is window. If you worked with JavaScript, you may know this modifier. Window runs the operation in whole page, and that operation is just for an element. Here @keyDown.control alert hello. In this case, I should choose input and press the control button to see the message. But by using window modifier, it says in every point of the page with pressing control button, the message will be shown. Now, in every point of the page, if I press control button, the message will be shown. The next modifier is once. Sometimes we need to have a small number of operations. Suppose that we have a button, and when we press the button, the message will be shown. Now come here with me. Button @click console.log hello. And also the name of the button is hello. Now after reloading the page, when I click on hello button, it will show me hello. And it counts the times I clicked on the button and shows the number in front of the message. Sometimes we need it to be just one time, and we can do that with once modifier. So here at sign, click once and so on. Now if I refresh the page, when I click on the button, it shows me the message just one time. The next modifier is debounce. We also have a similar modifier in livewire. Its duty is just delay. For example, we have an input and want to give value to it, and also we want to check out its validity. We want to create a message in case of entering a wrong password. We don't want to send many requests to server, and it reduces loading speed. Now here we need a delay. For example, every 250 milliseconds or 300 milliseconds it should check out the validity. If it's not valid, show a message. Also in Alpine.js, we have this process. Using debounce is easy. Here I have an input. Now alert hello. I didn't use debounce yet. Now let's see what happens. Well, I refresh the page. When I type in the box, the message will be shown. It shows me the message so fast and doesn't let me do anything else. To create a delay in this process, I will use debounce modifier. Now here at signInput.debounce, it delays 250 milliseconds in default. Every 250 milliseconds, it shows me the message. If you want to change the time, there is another durations. For example, I choose 1 second. It will show the message every second. After reloading the page, and until my typing is not ended, it won't show the message. After I finish typing, 1 second later it will show the message. The next modifier is throttle. It's very similar to debounce. In debounce, we had a delay, for example 1 second, but it wasn't static. But with throttle, you can create a static delay. For example, every 1 second, it checks out the database to see what new information is added, or which element's text has changed, our scroll is moved or not. Some operations are always in use and don't have a special time to do. To do this, we use throttle modifier. To create a good example, I define a BR. To have the scroll, let me define several of it. And I copy them. Here I create a div at sign_scroll.window, throttle alert hello. While I reload the page, you see that as I change the scroll, it shows the message. Like debounce, we can choose a time for throttle. Here I can write 1000 milliseconds. After reloading the page, it will show the message every second. Alright, we learned debounce and throttle so far. The next modifier is self. For example, I have a button at click alert hello. And inside the button, span example text strong not clickable. Because we used at click, by pressing every area of the button, it will show me the message. But if you just want to click on the button itself, you should use self. So I reload the page. By clicking on not clickable and example text, there is no message, but when I click on the button, it will show me the message. The next modifiers that will be explained is camel and dot. If you remember, in previous lesson, I explained custom events and how to create a custom event. Let me delete these lines. For example, div on show message, and as I told you, we should use kebab case. Sometimes I need to use kebab case, but Alpine.js cannot detect it and an error occurs. But you can use camel case and add .camel here. If you wanted to use a dot, for example, show.message, you can use a dot at the end of the code. And the last modifier is passive. The events that are related to scroll and touch may have a delay, and browsers can't detect that this event has delay or not. Alpine.js has a modifier named passive. Here, touchStart.passive. It prevents the delay on scrolling the page, and we will have a smooth scroll. Alright, this lesson is almost over, and there is no special point anymore. It was a long lesson and I had to teach you all of the modifiers. I hope you enjoyed this lesson. See you then.